The following episode contains content that may be disturbing to some listeners, including discussion of homicide, dismemberment, and deception. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Chandler Halderson, a 23-year-old from Wisconsin, presented a carefully constructed false image of his life to his parents, friends, and girlfriend. He claimed to work remotely for SpaceX in IT and engineering. He also claimed to be a college student completing a degree in renewable energy engineering at the Madison Area Technical College, taking online classes. He even described ongoing paid internships and promotions, none of which were true. In reality, Chandler had only briefly held a low-level part-time job for American Family Insurance in Madison, handling data entry and basic administrative work. Companies really want to collect data, so they hire these people. It really does not matter how much experience they have, but they need them to be taking notes constantly and doing simple jobs like this. The job may sound nerdy, but it really isn't. By 2020, he began frequently missing work, calling in sick, claiming school commitments, and eventually stopped showing up entirely to work. When the company fired him, he chose deception over truth, creating a fabricated narrative of employment at SpaceX, even forging emails to support his story, sending messages with fake accounts that said SpaceX on them. His lies extended to his academic life, where he missed classes and ultimately dropped out of school, upsetting his parents. The deception escalated tragically on or around July 1st, 2021, while up north, miles away, there were Canada Day celebrations. Here was Chandler, south of them, doing something brutal, killing his own parents, Bart and Krista, dismembering their bodies afterwards, and scattering the pieces in the woods. On July 7th, 2021, Chandler reported his parents missing at the Dane County Sheriff's Office. He afterwards walked out and continued on his everyday life, calmly telling concerned loved ones to trust the authorities. The following day, human remains were found at a property in Roxbury, Wisconsin. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office took in these remains, and through DNA testing, they confirmed that they belonged to Chandler's dad, Bart Halderson. Subsequent remains were found between July 14th to the 15th overnight. These were confirmed as Chandler's mom, Krista Halderson. Autopsies determined both had died from homicidal violence, consistent with gunshot injuries, followed by post-mortem dismemberment. They had been cut into pieces with tools, and the body parts still had their clothes on. A super sick person must have had done this to this couple. Chandler told investigators that his parents had gone up north for the 4th of July weekend, fabricating details about another couple and receiving texts he claimed to have gotten from them. These texts were from those apps where you could make fake phone numbers. Investigators traced his movements and eventually discovered Bart's torso at a property Chandler had visited days earlier. Investigators confirmed he did through cell phone antenna data. On the morning of July 8th, 2021, deputies arrived at the Halderson family home. Chandler was seated outside, speaking casually with officers, showing no visible emotion when informed that the remains had been found. probable cause was established. Chandler was arrested for providing false information to law enforcement, a charge that expanded into something more severe later on. He was taken directly to the Dane County Jail in Madison, remaining calm and polite throughout. In probate court, Chandler's brother Blake Halderson was granted the parents' property, and bond for Chandler was set at $10,000 cash only. He was represented by public defenders Catherine Doro and Crystal Vera. Prosecutor William Brown charged him with 8 additional felonies, including 2 counts of first-degree murder and intentional homicide. Chandler pleaded not guilty to all those charges before Judge John Highland, who had set that bond. The type of bond and its amount would ensure that he would remain locked up to await trial. Private services for Bart and Krista were conducted by the Gunderson Funeral Home of Fitchburg, Wisconsin, on August 3rd, 2021, followed by a private burial at the Roselawn Memorial Park in Monona. Chandler's trial began on January 3rd, 2022. On the 20th day of that month, things were wrapping up. Then, on the 20th day of the trial, which was January 23rd, a jury of 12 members and 6 alternates very quickly deliberated and found him guilty on all charges. A brief delay occurred when Chandler contracted COVID-19 in jail. On March 17, 2022, during sentencing, Judge Highland delivered 2 consecutive life sentences without parole, denying a request from Chandler's grandmother for early release. Following his conviction, Chandler expressed a desire to appeal. In April 2022, he was appointed to public defender Michael Covey, who reviewed trial transcripts and evidence to determine possible grounds for appeal. By March 2023, Covey filed a notice of no merit appeal, indicating no viable legal issues to challenge the conviction, a common step when evidence is substantial. Despite the no merit report, the Court of Appeals that gets the case will continue reviewing it for potential trial errors. Most matters are pending, that's what I mean, but the Madison, Wisconsin State Court of Appeals itself affirmed his conviction last month, November 26, just before Thanksgiving. There are still other avenues available to appeal. In April 2023, Dane County Circuit Judge John Highland vacated 2 of Chandler's convictions related to hindering a corpse. The judge determined these charges were lesser included offenses compared to the more serious ones of mutilating a corpse. The decision did not affect Chandler's life sentences, but ensured the integrity of the legal process. Chandler Halderson is currently incarcerated at the Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin, and has been held in protective custody since. The tragic case of Chandler Halderson serves as a somber reminder of the depths of human deception and violence. We share this account with respect for the victims and their families, with cautions for our listeners. Thank you for listening. May the parents rest in peace and have a good rest of your day.